Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Rory with Roar Sports Media, and today we're coming back with more Bengals news and updates and preview for the Steelers week. But first, the intro. Boom. So the Bengals recently beat the Tennessee Titans, which is no short feat. They had only had one defeat, and that was the Steelers, which the Bengals play this week. And well, it was a pretty one-sided affair. The Bengals looked really well oiled in that game. They were that by far the best coach they've looked. The defense was there. Jesse Bates is a freaking machine. My God, the linebackers are looking good. Defensive front was looking good. Uh, you know, for having Carlos Dunlap going to the Seahawks, the Bengals defensive front looked pretty good. Not like great, but they looked all right. And this week, I believe we get Sam Hubbard is back in practice, so that's good. And well, there's some more news that we're going to get to a little bit later. But recapping the Titans, man, that's a huge win for the Bengals to get, and I'm super excited for it. And Lord knows I'm there for that, man. Like, the Bengals offensive line held up pretty well too. No sacks given up, which is amazing considering like almost all of them were backups. And Quentin Spain was his first week playing with us. I think he had like a day to actually like get into the groove. And not to mention, Giovanni Bernard showed the hell out, man. I love Gio getting in the end zone, him doing his thing, and showing that he can still be a very productive back for us. We don't necessarily need Joe Mixon. He's a luxury to have. And, I'm glad that they are both paid at the running back position. But, like, the Bengals showed what they're capable of. And, my God, Joe Burrow is that guy. Oh my God. By far, I think he's in the lead for the Rookie of the Year with Justin Herbert behind him. But I think that right now, Joe Burrow is in the lead for that. And with Joe Burrow possibly being in the lead for the Rookie of the Year, it's now. The time is now for the Bengals to establish a winning culture, and they need to do it pretty fast. This is the time to strike. They're going against the rest of the NFC East, and they are more than capable of getting like 4 to 5 wins in the next probably 8 games. Like I was saying, it's a time to win, and we need to start establishing that winning culture. Because, like I was saying, the Steelers don't worry about the draft. The Ravens don't worry about the draft. The Patriots don't worry about the draft. The 49ers don't worry about the draft. They worry about winning, and then when the draft comes, that's when they address it. Trying to lose out for higher draft picks is a losing mentality, and I do not want that. I am not here for that at all. So, like I was saying earlier, big news. The Bengals signed Takk McKinley off waiver wires coming from the Atlanta Falcons. This is huge news for the Bengals because this addresses one of the needs that they're going to have to address in the draft or in free agency. Getting him now in the season lets the Bengals see what he's capable of, if he's going to fit in our system, and whether or not he can be a team player for us. Takk McKinley has the talent of a first-round defensive end, and this kid, whenever he's on, he's on. He rushes relentlessly, and he has a super high motor. But kind of an emotional guy. Clearly, you can tell from the draft when he was, highly emotional after being drafted, pretty much screaming about his grandma. And which highly emotional moment, he's just became a millionaire. I can see why he'd be that way, but I feel like he gives that fire to the Bengals defense. Like, I just don't know any super duper high energy guys except for maybe Jesse Bates at times, but like super high energy, I don't see it from the Bengals. This guy gives the Bengals that fire, that intensity, and the rest of the team can keep him in check from what I can tell. Like, they're clearly a tight locker room, going through the whole Carlos Dunlap situation and, sticking together behind the coaching staff, behind the plan. Takar's coming in here for such a cheap deal right now, too. I think we're only paying him like $500,000 for the rest of the season, which is chump change for what the guy could possibly give you, a multiple sack rest of the season through the 8 games. And not only that, he fills in for Sam Hubbard. And by the way, both of them are graded very, very closely. Takarist being higher in pass rush win rate, and Sam Hubbard being higher in run defense grade. So these two very young players are going to be the future more than likely going forward for the Bengals, and I'm here for it. Like those two mixed with Carl Lawson is a package that I'd love to see on third downs because all those guys can affect the passer at a pretty good rate, and it gets the Bengals younger on the defensive side, so they don't have to spend that or necessarily go super early in the draft for that position. Takk, welcome to the jungle. I'm glad to have you, even though you did talk a little bit of crap on us in 2015 when we were facing the Texans. He said the Bengals are trash, but hopefully he's changed his mind on that since he's playing for us. I feel like we can be a forgiving fandom, but as long as you produce, we're not going to hate on you, man. If you produce, we're going to love you. But welcome to the Bengals, Takk. Love to see you here. Last but not least, it is Steelers week. And if you know anything about the Bengals and Steelers, is that we absolutely hate each other. The teams hate each other, the management hates each other, the fans hate each other. This is probably the most bad-blooded rivalry in our. So it is Steelers week, and I'm excited for this. I think that this is probably the most excited I've been for a Steelers game in a long time. And if you know anything about Steelers and Bengals, is that they cannot stand each other. The teams can't stand each other. The players can't stand each other. Even though this is a newer group of Bengals, they know the history. Um, you know, it's just a rivalry that is not necessarily built on respect. It's built on just sheer hate, which, going back to 2015, you can understand why, especially with how that game ended. And, well, you know how it went. It was just gruesome, stupid, lots of penalties, lots of, just straight up emotions and bad play calling going one way, which tends to happen for the Steelers. But, it is what it is, and we can't change that now. But going forward, we know that the Steelers are 8-0, but they can bleed. Last week against the Cowboys, they, for some reason, against that poor, horrible Cowboys team, they had their hands full all the way up until the end of the game. The Steelers are a well coached team, and I'll give them that. They're a good franchise. They're a good team, well coached. Mike Tomlin's a good coach, but he's also, in my opinion, a jerk, which I think that rubs off on his teams. I think his teams are mostly a bunch of jerks. Like, they just don't seem like, the not necessarily nice, but they seem dirty to me, especially being a Bengals fan, watching them, what they do. And, it's not like I don't have evidence. Honestly, it's hard just talking about the Steelers because I do have a special place in my heart for hate for them. It is what it is. The Bengals haven't done very well against the Steelers for the past, decade. But, I feel like this new era of Bengals doesn't really care about what happened before them. They're concerned about the future and what the future of the rivalry might be. Now, I'm not going to say that the Bengals are going to come in here and, just dominate the Steelers. I think that it will be a close game, but in the end, I think that the Bengals are going to have a shot at winning, but not necessarily, I'm not going to come out and say that they're going to go in there and just dominate the hell out of the Steelers. That would be stupid, and just, that pass rush from the Steelers is freaking crazy. It's insane. But that's how it always is for the most part. The Steelers have great linebackers, and they have a really strong defensive line, which they can, make pass rush and guard the run. The Steelers' defense is, back to where it used to be, where, earlier in this decade, they were kind of a softer defense that relied on their offense to score a lot of points, and they just kind of prevent the entire time. Now, when I was talking about coaching earlier, Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, and that's freaking crazy. That's insane amount of winning, especially like for any teams in general, or any head coach, if Mike Tomlin were to come out right now, he would be a first ballot Hall of Fame coach. No doubt about it. He's won 2 Super Bowls and no, he's won 1 Super Bowl. Yeah, 1 Super Bowl, and it is what it is. But the Bengals and the Steelers are going to have a good game this week. I feel like it's going to be competitive. It's going to be a rough game, clearly, like it always is. But I got the Steelers winning. I hate to say that, but I don't think that the Bengals right now are at the level that they need to be able to go into this game and expect to be dominant. I think we can go into this game and be competitive, but not necessarily go in there and get that dub. But it is what it is, and I think that this is going to be a benchmark of the future for this rivalry. But the Bengals will come up short, which will give them a little fire for the next game, which I'm here for that because I love watching football and I appreciate you watching this video. If you could please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It all helps me grow. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And most of all, welcome to the Roar. Peace.